I'm Matt, they, them, and I'm attempting to represent the 2nd District of Massachusetts in Congress. I want to talk about one of my key voting principles, breaking the two-party duopoly. Perhaps you're not aware of this, but many democracies are not simply a choice between the Red Sox and the Yankees. They let a whole bunch of teams compete. Then, when elected, those teams are forced to form coalitions and make compromises in order to govern. It's not the will of a single man, or two hierarchical groups run by rich old boomers who refuse to take their hands off the wheel because their deep corporate ties keep them in seats of power. I would argue that the current two-party duopoly is a form of competitive authoritarianism. Let's talk about Ralph Nader. You might remember him for seatbelts, but if you remember him at all, it's probably for being a supposed spoiler in the 2000 election. Before getting into hanging chads or the Supreme Court, let's focus on the first presidential debate. It happened in Boston, and I was protesting outside. Why? Prior to that debate, the Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates kept Nader out with a new ruling that candidates needed to be polling at 15% nationally to be given access to the debate stage. Paul G. Kirk, co-chairman of the commission, said, "It's not a perfect analogy, but in sports, people understand you don't make the playoffs unless you start to accumulate enough wins to show you're competitive." Prior to that bar raising, Nader was polling around 5% nationally and was on the ballot in nearly all 50 states. Keep in mind, this was before social media. I don't know about you, but I think for a candidate without the reach of the two major parties, those are good enough numbers to be invited to the table, which is exactly why they pushed him away. Also, Nader didn't need to win the presidency to achieve victory. If he finished with more than 5% of the vote, it would have qualified the Green Party for federally distributed public funding in the next election. That victory would have been a big deal financially for the Green Party, and it would have been one more step to legitimizing a third party in the United States. They would have been in a better position to make the playoffs next time. I'd like to go back to another Kirk quote defending the decision to exclude Nader. "Our role is not to jumpstart your campaign and all of a sudden make you competitive." Now I'd like to quote the supposed spoiler, Ralph Nader. "Al Gore thinks we're supposed to be helping him get elected. I've got news for Al Gore. If he can't beat the bumbling Texas governor with that terrible record, he ought to go back to Tennessee." Continuing to vote blue no matter who is failing to see that the lesser of two evils approach, coupled with deregulation, is what got us to such polarized politics to begin with. We will continue to see Democrats win and yet still be bullied into conceding power to an ever-autocratic right. And this isn't just a left-wing thing. Let Republicans split the MAGA and America First groups into their own parties. Voting for a third party does not have to be treated like throwing your vote away. Plenty of systems already exist to allow voters to rank their choices. Anyway, I don't currently represent a party, which is why I need your signature so I can get on the ballot as an independent. And who knows, maybe one day we can create a legitimate party together.